Welcome to the Outsmart Burnout Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Zarya Rubin, a functional medicine doctor, an international speaker, and a burnout badass because I've been there myself. After walking away from my own high-stress medical career, I discovered how to break free from burnout to reclaim my passion, purpose, and joy. And now I'm here to help you do the same. From science-backed tips to time-saving hacks, and hopefully some aha moments that just might change your life. So sit back, relax, and let's do this. Welcome to the Outsmart Burnout Podcast. Our guest today is Tracy Hoth, a certified life coach and professional organizer with over 16 years of experience helping people transform chaos into calm. She's the host of the Organized Coach podcast and founder of Simply Squared Away, where she teaches life coaches and overwhelmed women how to create systems in their businesses and organize their homes. Tracy specializes in combining practical organizing strategies with mindset coaching to help her clients become more organized people from the inside out. And as someone who has been somewhat chaotically disorganized and flying by the seat of her pants her entire life, I cannot wait for this conversation. So, welcome to the podcast, Tracy. See, I told you the intro was going to be fun. That you would enjoy
fun. Thank you for having me. It's so fun to be here. I can't wait to talk. Ask me all the questions.
Well, yeah, let's dive into it. So I feel like you have sort of a unique background being both a personal organizer and a life coach. Tell me a little bit more about how you got into that, what came first, and how it evolved, and just how you got to where you are today.
It's so interesting now that I look back because I decided I stayed home with my kids. I have 4 kids, and I stayed home with them when my youngest started school. I thought, I'm going to help people get organized. So I started doing that, and then I started speaking on the topic of organization and productivity. Never once did I think about mindset. I wasn't into self-help. I didn't know anything about mindset. I really thought that people needed me there with them or they could never get organized. And then I found life coaching in 2017 and got certified in 2018 and still wondered, how is it really going to work? But I knew I didn't want to be in homes. It was a super physical job. And as I was getting older, I'm like, I don't know, that's so much work. My back's hurting. And so I started developing my business online and helping people organize their homes. And eventually that led also into organizing the back end of their businesses. And it works. It blows my mind how amazing it is to help someone understand what's keeping them stuck from getting organized and all these thoughts they have about their identity and who they are and challenging that and changing it. And then they get rid of stuff, they declutter, they organize, they put in systems, and it's life-changing. It's so fun.
Okay, I am all ears about all of this because, yes, I definitely struggle with organization and clutter. And so what was the light bulb moment for you when you realized that organizing was more than just about the physical stuff? Because,
I think it started in training when we looked at what our stories were about ourselves and how the brain works and just how, if we have these stories that maybe we picked up when we were younger or we had some transition in our life where we kind of, what people would call, got behind and then started being messier or, attaching to sentimental items or whatever it is, that then our brain goes and finds that evidence. So we believe that so deeply that it's true, that it's, we just live like that and don't change. And when we can pull those things out and say, just with one client recently, I helped her see how she really was organized. She planned vacations meticulously. She was so organized at work. So if she has those same qualities, she has them at home. She can put them in at home, but she just didn't believe that she was like that because her mom told her since she was a little kid that she was messy or she was a piler or whatever. And it's just so crazy. And now that she realizes that that was just a story, and that she can choose a different story if she wants to. It's just changing how she keeps things, lets go of things, how she puts things away, has homes for things.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of, limiting beliefs and stories that we tell ourselves that we can get stuck in. I used to think I was just a super anxious person, or, that's just what life is like. I didn't realize that I was struggling with, severe anxiety and PTSD and burnout and all of those things. And I think that we do justify a lot, and especially when it comes to, mess and clutter and organization. I grew up in a very, very, very messy house. So I'm
Mm.
going to say that that's my excuse, was that I don't think I really properly learned the skills of cleaning and organization. And it is kind of a skill, right?
I totally believe that. And I always think about if we're here in our current situation and we want to get there, which let's say for this example is getting organized, the gap or the thing that we need to do to get there is either a skill or it's our mindset. That's what's keeping us from getting to that point. Yes, exactly. Or both.
Raise my hand.
Yes, or it could also be like an asset, something that we don't have that we need aside from mindset and a skill. But it's so fun to think of that and like really, that's all it is. And if it's a skill, it's simple enough using my 5 steps to get organized. It's simple enough that anyone can learn it. Like we are all capable of learning that skill. Maybe we just have never been taught it, which is a lot of the case. And everyone looks around and thinks everyone else has it together. Like, what's wrong with me? I'm missing something. When really nobody has it together behind the scenes. And then they all are thinking that at the same time.
Really? Not everybody's life is a Pinterest board? Okay.
Yeah, no, but don't we have a lot of that to look at and convince ourselves that we are
Yeah.
really lacking.
So I'm really curious to hear more about this 5 steps to
Yeah.
becoming organized. Can you dive into that a little bit with us?
Ooh, for sure. So 5 steps to organize anything. And I've been doing this 17 years, so it works with everything, including our calendar, including your mind. So as I go through these steps, just think if you're overwhelmed, you follow these 5 steps, including your digital assets, your time, your physical spaces. So the acronym spells space, and the first step to organize anything is to sort. And the reason, and it's not, I just found out that people might think this. It's not to sort into keep, donate, trash, recycle. It's to just sort like items with like items so that you don't have to make any decisions. I think that's what gets people caught up. Me also, if I go into my closet and think I got to get rid of some stuff and I just try to find something to get rid of, I turn around and leave immediately because that decision is overwhelming. So sort like with like. That's step number 1. Step number 2, now that we have all the things that we own in certain categories, we can go look at that category and then we can purge. So the second step is to purge. Now we can make decisions, and decision making is a lot easier because we see everything that we have in that category. And I always say, pick your favorites first. Pick out the things that you always use, your go to items, things you can't live without, and then look at what's remaining. And you can ask yourself other questions like, when's the last time I used this? Could I live without it? Could I be generous and give this away? Those types of questions. Would I buy this again at full price and bring it into my home? Then the third step, now that we know what we're keeping, is to assign homes. So sort, purge, assign homes. And that's a little bit of the puzzle. We're testing things, trying things. And this is really important because one of my clients, she's also a physician, she got stuck because she always thought that she needed to find the perfect place for it. So as she's organizing in her own home right now, she's like, I don't know where to put this. I don't know the perfect place. And so once she noticed that that thought was keeping her stuck, now she's able to say, I'm going to try that out. Maybe this will be the home that it lives in. It's that sentence alone. She's noticed now that she's used that in dating. this isn't the perfect place. And so she doesn't do it. And so it's so fun just to see everything kind of unravel in a good way, loosen up in a good way for the rest of our life too. So I get so distracted. So sort, purge, assign homes, and then the fourth step is to contain. Now that we know where it lives, we can use the containers. Often people do this step first. They find cute containers at Target and they're like, oh, yes, I got to get some
Yes.
containers.
I
Yeah.
used to clean and organize by going to the container store and buying a bunch of things that I didn't know what to do with, didn't know where to
Yes.
put them. Then you have container clutter and
Yes.
you feel even worse. You have container clutter, right?
Yes. And people, I tell them they cannot buy anything until they get to this step because now you know where it's going to live. You can measure it. You can know what you need and always shop your house first. You might have a cardboard box that can use as that container to make sure that's where you want it to live and then later go out and buy something that's aesthetically matching and pleasing to your eyes. And then the final step is to energize. And when you have a space done, first, I want you celebrating, like over celebrating. And in order to maintain that energy that you now have to live your life and spend your energy on things that you want to instead of filling your brain with the spin of I'm such a messy person, look at this space, I need to address this. Now you can spend that energy on other things. And in order to do that, it requires you to maintain the space. This is the habit part where you tie it to something you already do, tie the maintenance part of it to something you already do. So, an easy one to look at is taxes. Every year we do our taxes. When we do our taxes, I always go through my file cabinet and get rid of paper. Like I go through and clean the paper out. Or even something more simple is like your car. Every time you get gas, empty all the trash out of your car. Or for me, every time I pull into the garage, I take everything out of my car and throw it in the trash. There's a trash can right next to the car and then bring things in the house. So little things like that will help you.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, so I have heard that there are different types of clutter. I think there's like some people have broken it down to three different types, like sentimental clutter and then like scarcity, sort of doomsday prepping kind of clutter, and then something called aspirational clutter. I don't know if you've heard of those terms and that breakdown, or if you have a different way of describing different types of clutter and why it happens and, why we get so stuck in it.
Oh, I love this. No, I do not do that. But the thing about clutter is the definition how I look at clutter is that it's delayed decisions. And so the only reason we have clutter is just that we haven't decided on the item, like either where it's going to live
Boy.
or if we want to keep it or get rid of it. And so a little bit, I like thinking about it, like you said, that's super interesting to me. And I'll have to read about that more because it could be very beneficial to notice, like, why am I keeping this stuff or why is it sitting here? But I've always thought about clutter as very neutral. It's just that you haven't made decisions on it yet. And
Mm.
that's totally okay. And all it
Ooh,
takes is making some decisions. What's coming up for you?
that is really deep. And I need to think about that one a lot because I definitely am a person who has in the past struggled with decision making because I love to have many options and have all of my options open. So making decisions has always felt very like confining. But I feel like obviously there's a connection between clutter and disorganization and this sense of stress and overwhelm that we all feel and or many of us feel, especially as women, as successful women, career women, moms. We have so much going on, and that I feel like when our outside space is perhaps a mirror of our interior space and it's very chaotic and cluttered, that can really take a toll on us. So tell us, your take on that and how clutter and, mess and disorganization is kind of linked to overwhelm and burnout.
Yeah, I think that's interesting to think about because it's kind of like the chicken or the egg. Which one came first? Did the clutter happen because we don't have the skill of organizing. And now our brain is more overwhelmed because we're looking around and our to-do list, our silent clutter is yelling at us about what we have to do, kind of. So that's all spinning in our brain. Or is it that the other way? Like, did it start the other way? And we have this uncalm brain, and that's causing us to not make decisions. I think it's probably goes both ways. And
Wow.
isn't
I've
that fun
never
to think
thought
about?
about it that way. My goodness. Yeah. This is better than therapy.
And without any judgment or criticalness, can we look at that in our own lives and just say, huh, I'm so curious. Like, why have I not made decisions on that? Or why do I have clutter in this area? Or is it my brain that feels cluttered? So I think it's it is like therapy, isn't it? And the other thing it could be like is a practice of decluttering. You have an organizing practice, just like you have a yoga practice. And it could be such a calming, beautiful process that you do. And I did a podcast episode on this called The Thousand Piece Puzzle. And one of my clients kind of came up with this because I had said at the beginning, we have to neutralize how much stuff we have around us that we need to deal with. And so I said, okay, let's just say you have 1,050 pieces of things that you need to make decisions on. I go, well, I mean, you could make 5 decisions a day and we could figure out the math and there's no drama. That's just the things you need to do. And by the end of our session, she said, yeah, it's like 1,000 piece puzzle. And I said, exactly. And then we started talking about how it all relates. When we have a puzzle, we sort first, we get the edge pieces out, and we don't think, I'm terrible, this is hard, I've never done this. We just do it because it's kind of therapeutic, and we separate the edge pieces. We put the edge together, then we pull out some colors that we like, and we work on a little area of the puzzle. And eventually it all gets put together and it's enjoyable for us, for people that like puzzles, you know. It's enjoyable and it's fun time, and a lot of times we do it with other people and we turn music on and we just have a great time doing a puzzle. And we could think about our clutter or our homes as puzzles that we're working on, and it's beautiful.
I love that. Oh my goodness.
Yes. So, in my Organized Life Academy, which is a membership or group that I do a program, I break it down by one area each month. And so people can do this on their own. They don't have to be in the program, but I break it down by one area each month. And at the beginning of the month, we use this is another cool thing. We use the SPACE steps, the acronym, to organize our project. And so if our project is, let's say this month we're actually doing clothing, we'd look at clothing and then we break it down using the steps. So we would sort all the things that we want to do. And I like to sort by category or by spaces. Like you might have a end table, you might have a dresser that has clothes, shelves, the hanging rack, whatever it is. Or you could also do clothing's a perfect example of categories. You might have pants, shirts, sweatshirts, shoes, that type of thing. You break all that down. So you sorting all that out, and then you use the purge step to say, in reality, I'm out of town 2 weeks this month. I have a huge project due, and I really only have maybe 4 days that I have bigger chunks of time, or 14 days that I have 20 minutes. So okay, I can't get to all of that. So I'm going to purge out some of those things. And now I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to assign those things to my calendar. I'm going to assign
Mm.
pants and shirts on Saturday at 2. And then the contain step is 2 to 4. We're setting a container of time that we're going to work on that category. And when you do that for your project, you now have a plan in place. For me this month, I was out of town all last week. And then this week I had some things I needed to do. So on Friday afternoon is when I'm going to work on my clothing. And I have 3 hours, I think, set aside to do that. So at the beginning of the month, I don't have to think about how I'm not getting it done. I don't have to think that I'm disorganized because I haven't worked on it yet. I know that I'm organized because that is in my calendar on Friday at 2, and it's on in there for 3 weeks from now. So taking that approach and doing that in each area of your home that you get to decide, and how, like, people are like, well, what's the magic place to start? I always say, you can pick something that's bugging you the most. Like, maybe it's
Yeah.
right when you walk in the house. You want
Yeah.
that to be
Yeah.
peaceful. Or maybe it's when you in your bedroom or
Everything.
yeah, it's everything. So you just get to pick what would make you the happiest if it was done.
Mm.
That's a good
Yeah.
question.
Ooh, yeah. And I love this idea of scheduling and setting aside time. And I feel like I generally massively underestimate how much time it's going to take. Like, I'm like, I can get this done in 15 minutes. Cut to 2 hours later, I'm still sorting through shirts and I haven't even touched the closet. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a lot.
Okay.
And so I think we have to both set boundaries and time bound it, but also like acknowledge that this takes time.
It does. It does take time, and I like to think of a few things when it comes to time. First, we follow the steps. So I have a 15-minute declutter challenge that anyone can get. When you do that, you follow the organizing steps. So the space steps are written out. And also, when you are about to start, it's like your professor gives you time to take a test. And he says, you have 30 minutes for this pop quiz, or you have 2 hours for this end of the quarter big test. And you know that when you take it, you are so focused. Like, you are whipping through the questions and then you're flagging the ones, coming back to those that need it. You're not like, oh, let me check my phone and let me do this. And oh, you need me?
Right.
Phone call? you know?
Yeah. No, no interruption.
Yeah. So when you approach your organizing time that's on your calendar, yes, there are times that it lasts longer, which is totally fine. And you can gather information from that. Like, did it take longer because, like, remember these great times in my life? Did it
Mm,
take longer because I really had more shirts than I ever imagined? Did it take longer because I got interrupted? And we can just really look at that, and it can be a skill that we're practicing and getting better and better at, is estimating the time that it'll take.
Hey, are you listening to the show right now and quietly nodding along, thinking, yeah, this sounds just like me? You're exhausted, but you can't stop. You're not sleeping, and you're definitely never actually resting. You keep telling yourself you just need to get through this next thing, the next deadline, the next quarter, the next season of life, and then you'll slow down, maybe even take a vacation. But that moment never comes. If this sounds like you, I want you to know two things. One, you are not broken. And two, I've got you. I'm Dr. Zarya Rubin, and I created the Burnout Blueprint specifically for this moment. The moment you finally admit something needs to change, but you have no idea where to start, and it feels like there's no time in your busy schedule to fit anything in, even healing. The Burnout Blueprint is a 90-minute session, just you and me, where we figure out exactly what's going on in your nervous system, and I hand you a personalized plan to start feeling like yourself again. No guessing games, no generic advice, just clarity and a real next step. Head over to drzarya.myflowdesk.com. The link is in the show notes. And for a limited time, I'm offering $100 off to the first 10 clients. I can't wait to start this next chapter with you. Yeah, absolutely. And then for me, there's also the aftermath. It's like, then I have to figure out, how do I allot time to, what do I do with it? Like,
Yeah.
if I want to give it away, that's one thing. And then I need to package it up and then bring it to the place and where I'm donating. And then if I want to sell it, that's a whole other thing that is just, it feels really overwhelming. And oftentimes it's the, what do I do with it aspect that prevents me from moving forward, because I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it in the closet. It's easier than dealing with having to actually, resolve it. But yeah, that's the
Those are such good points, though. That is the reality of learning and practicing this and making it happen. And I think anytime we start something, we're not going to be good. It's going to all be new. We don't know what our process is for getting things to donate. What are some other options? That's why it's like having the support that you need in place to be able to kind of endure maybe that messy middle part where you want to quit.
Oh, yeah, it always gets a lot worse before it gets better, and I'm like, "Just husband, just ignore the way the closet looks right now or the bedroom, like, it's gonna be better, trust me," or the kitchen, because I take everything out of every shelf and and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Just trust me, it's gonna be better," and then it is better, but then I just always find that it kind of reaccumulates to whatever set point I have for
Mm.
clutter. That,
Mhm.
like, it seems like we all have these sort of set points, and it just, like, it goes back. I'm like, "Oh, there's space in the fridge. I'm gonna go grocery shopping and buy a million things." That is my
Yes, and so
downfall as
that's a
well.
great thing to be aware of. Be aware of what your set point is and what habit, the energize step, what habit needs to be put in place to help us maintain that. One of the things that you mentioned that I think is really important is that unless we have a lot of time and support in a block of time, I love just taking certain things out at a time and doing like a 15, 30-minute, whatever amount of time you have. For example, in the closet, it's a great thing. I just take all my pants out of the closet, sort them into jeans, dress pants, whatever, and then try things on, make decisions, and put them all back in there. And you have no mess. And you have the little bag of donate that you can stick in your car to drop off next time you go past a donate place or collect it in a bag in the garage, depending on what your situation is. And then you're done. You can like celebrate. You got one category done. Even in the kitchen, if you took all the utensils out or just the mugs out and you made decisions on smaller categories, it might give you more success than not burn you out and practically kill you because you're trying to do it all. Because I know from
Right.
helping people in their home, we reach that point and they're like dying, their eyes are glazing over. And I'm like, I can finish this and help get this done. But there is that point when you just have your like decision fatigue.
Yeah, you hit a wall. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this next question. So you mentioned you have 4 kids.
Yes.
I only have 1. However, everybody in my household, except for myself, has ADHD. How do you manage like, if you're a single person and you're trying to get organized, that's one thing. But when you're managing multiple other people, and these people might be neurodivergent, my goodness, that's a whole other ball of wax.
Yeah. I think starting out with just putting a boundary about around what comes in, because the less stuff you have, the easier it is to maintain it. And that's key.
That's guilty as charged. That's sort of my area of problem. Then my family's area of problem is not being able to organize it or put it away. I'm like, I can generally try to organize and put it away, but I acquire too much stuff. So the
Yeah.
2 together is like a deadly combination. It's not
Because even
good.
I can look at a space in someone's house and I think there's no way it would take so much energy to maintain the organization of all this stuff that
Yes.
I mean, I don't have the energy to want to do that. So I would want to get less stuff. And we even just went on vacation and it's so funny because our family, maybe it was more because of money. Like my husband and I didn't, with 4 kids, we just didn't have a lot of money. We were pretty frugal. And so we didn't buy a lot of souvenirs. But I have clients who they would go on vacation and they literally would come home with 40 things for each kid. And I'm like, it's a little overwhelming because I don't know what to do with all this stuff either.
Yeah.
So it is like being really aware of what you're bringing in to the
Mm.
house because every time you bring something in, before you buy it, you start thinking, like, where is this going to live? I have to go into my house and find a home for this item immediately, even before I buy it. Think of where it's going to live. And if you don't have room, that keeps me from buying a lot of stuff because I'm like, I don't want to find a home for this. It's already busy. I'm going to have to find something to get rid of. And it makes me think, I don't need it.
Yeah, that's sort of the, like, 1 in, 1 out rule, which I am not good at maintaining, but I think that that's kind of a good one. But all right, we have focused a lot on the home, but
Ooh,
I know that you also help people get organized when it comes to their business
yeah.
and behind the scenes and all of that. And so, because so many people who listen to the podcast, myself included, are business owners and coaches, and I would love to hear some of your insights and takes on, what are some of the biggest wins or biggest problem areas that we can help women address so that they get out of that overwhelmed place. And you did mention like your calendar and even like your digital files and such, but
Yeah.
yeah, give us a
I
little business insight.
Let's talk business. Yes, I have, and we haven't mentioned this in the other with home yet, but the power of one, the wonderful one, is that we want to have one place. So our brain is just released from all the heaviness of, oh my gosh, I don't even know where this file lives. Is it on here? Is it over there? Is it in my Dropbox? Is it my Google Drive? Like, who knows where? Is it on my external hard drive? So we want to have one
Yes.
hub, one place. Now, if nobody needs to get to it, it can be on your computer. You might have it on your Google Drive as much as possible. So this isn't like beat yourself up if it doesn't work in every area of your life, but as much as possible. And this is in the home too, but we have one place. So I like to use that concept for many things. With your business or on your computer, I like to have one place for files. And then I have a five file folder system for kind of like the upper level of file structure organization. We have the operations, which is anything behind the scenes. We have marketing, which is anything outward facing. We have my content, which is anything I make, all my programs, speaking, whatever. Education, which is all those things that we download off the internet. Anybody else's stuff is going to go in education. Coaches we hire, certifications, all that. And then clients is the last file. So when you think about, I'm bringing something into my computer, is it behind the scenes, outward? Is it my content, someone else's content, or clients?
Hmm.
So
I love
simple.
that.
Yeah.
So simple. So using my downloads folder as an organizational system is not recommended. Is that
You
what you're
could
saying?
put those 5 folders in your downloads folder if you wanted to. I usually tend to, when I'm starting or helping someone start, I have them make those folders on their computer, like on their desktop, and they just put their downloads up and they put their 5 files up and they just drag everything into the place where it's gonna live. So again, we're sorting.
Or the trash.
Yes, yes. But a lot of times you're opening things, here's another good example, you're opening things and looking and deciding when you could just sort as quickly as possible and then go back to operations. And now you're gonna make decisions on things because you have time and you know what subfolders you might want and that kind of thing. And you
Mm.
see if you have 42 duplicate copies of the same thing, now because it's all in one folder. So I think that's really important to sort again, keep following the same steps until you can just master those 5 steps. The other
Mm.
thing with business is I like having every website that I need to get to often on my bookmarks bar. So I have a really helpful bookmarks bar system. And then
I
the
love that.
other
Yes.
Yes, it is so I mean, like, I'm just in love, and I learned this from my son. I went to his house one time, and he's like, "Oh, mom, look at this. I've got it all organized." And I was like, "What? Can you show me how to do that?" He was so organized. And then the other thing is I love having a dashboard. I call it a dashboard. It's a Google Sheet that I've kind of formatted all the tabs. And so when I need anything, a link, anything for my brand, it's all in my dashboard, which is on my bookmarks bar. So with one click, I can get to that, open it, and get the link I need. So just keep thinking like the one place where I would find things I need, where is that? The one file structure, where is that? And you'll begin to just, your brain will just be so happy with you because you can find everything. And that's the definition of organizing, knowing what you have and being able to find it when you need it.
Oof. Boy. Yes. Do I love that? That is phenomenal. Okay, well, I think that we have entered the portion of the podcast that we like to call rapid fire
Yes.
round. And since we're just entering Year of the Fire Horse, this is going to be terrific. So this is where we ask our guests just some quick rapid fire questions and, feel free to answer whatever comes to mind. Okay. Digital clutter or physical clutter, which is harder to tackle?
I think digital because it's hidden and you can avoid it or not see it.
Yeah, what do I do with the 20,000 photos on my phone? Don't
Mhm.
know. Agree.
Ignore them.
Favorite organizing container or tool you can't live without?
Well, I would say my label maker. I love having a label maker that I have some different just cardboard magazine holders on the shelf in my office, and I love being able to make a label. Or I just bought a new electronic device and got a charger, and I can just stick a label on there so quickly, and it just helps me. I'm so thankful later when I see that label of what that charging cord was for, and I can be like, "Oh, I'm so proud of my past self that she made a label immediately."
Okay, so yeah, this must be a thing about organizers and label makers because let me tell you, I've hired a few in my day. And they all came brandishing a label maker. And I was like, oh, what is this item? Do tell me of your ways. And so, guess what I would do? I would buy label makers. I have purchased many. Do I know where they are? No. Do I know how they actually function? No. Do I know if they have cartridges or chargers or whatnot? No. Have I ever used a label maker that I have purchased? Also, no.
Well, sometimes we leave that for someone else to use with us, and that makes it a great thing.
I'm thinking I need some serious help here, Tracy. I don't know.
Let's go.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Next, worst organizing advice you constantly see online.
I would say to get clear bins before you know what you need, and then buy things in rainbow order so that it can look amazing. And then you think that you're organized and you're really not.
Oh
It's
my goodness.
more overwhelming.
Yeah, we talked about that fallacy of buying the organizing items first before you purge and declutter and separate before you actually know what you need.
Yes. The
So,
other one,
yeah.
I gotta say this other one
Well,
too.
there's more. Okay, tell us, tell us.
Pulling every single thing out and putting it in a giant pile on your bed. Like all of your clothes in your entire house and putting them in a pile on your bed. I would never tell anybody to do that. That is way too overwhelming.
So that doesn't work. I may have done that in the past.
No, that's where I'd
Lost
say
my
pull
mind.
one category out so that you can actually get through it and you're not so overwhelmed.
Okay, we kind of touched on this one a little bit of the one room that everyone should organize first, and I guess it's a trick question.
Trick question. I'd say if you want the least sentimental things to do like a bathroom because and even your guest bathroom because you have not a lot of sentimental things. It's either trash or it's something you haven't used in such a long time or it's an old ratty towel you don't run around. So that might make it easier and you have one space that's finished and you can go back and just sit in there and enjoy it.
Yes, my guest bedroom and guest bathroom are the cleanest, most organized rooms in my house because they're rarely used.
Yeah.
Okay, what is
I gotta say this, Zarya, that in itself I have many clients who their guest room is piled full of stuff. The fact that your guest room is organized and very beautiful is a testament that you do have it within you.
I didn't mention the guest closet.
Yeah. But the guest room,
The guest room is fantastic, and the guest bathroom is fantastic. Very, like, the counters are spotless, there's no clutter, there's no nothing on any of the surfaces, the
see,
drawers are
that's
empty. It's
amazing.
glorious, it's
There's
glorious,
some
yes.
evidence right there.
Yeah, because they don't get used. I need to, like, translate this to the rest of the house, but okay. This is an interesting one. maybe I'm gonna make it into a two-parter, so it won't be that rapid fire. But so like the last thing that you decluttered from your own life that you are like happy about, and then possibly a story. Maybe you don't have this. See, I have this a lot where I go on these decluttering rampages and then I actually declutter something that I friggin' need later. And I think, why did I get rid of that? I should have just kept it and found a spot for it and then not had to buy it again. But some schools of organizing thought say, you know what? If you can easily replace it and you're not going to use it in the next like year, just get rid of it. So
Well, I have so much to say on this, so I'll try to keep it brief. But the first one is the question of what I just sold. We had this I used to have an office right when you walk in the door with a giant like credenza with a cabinet and a main desk, and I sold that furniture. So I had to take everything out of that, and now my office is in a small room on the second floor of our house, and I had to fit it all in here. So I got a new cabinet behind me that has storage inside of it, and I purged a lot, and I didn't have any drawers out here. So I had to buy a few drawers for in the closet in here. But it was a fun transition because I'm excited about the result I'm creating.
I
And
love that.
then the second part of that was one thing I love doing is making sure that people, their future selves, that they've thought about how their future self is going to treat the current self who's doing their very best to make decisions on things. And so when you might donate something in the moment and later notice that instead of beating yourself up, being really compassionate about, you know what, you were there trying, you were making decisions, you were trying to get rid of stuff, and I'm so proud of you. And I might need this item and I might buy it again, and that's okay.
So one thing that I'm very proud of myself about that was the opposite because I err on the other side of like, I don't know, this looks like maybe it's important. I should keep it. So, we're not the first homeowners of this house. It was a beautiful house and it's got this big shower but the shower drain, like it's just really weird. Like it seems like it's cemented to the shower. Like you can't remove the drain. And so we had a plumber come and the plumber's like, well, you can totally remove it. Like, we were like, what? Really? He's like, yeah, you should have like a tool like that goes into one of the holes and you can remove it. And I was like, and then I thought back to many moons ago, this weird plastic thing that looked kind of like a letter T and it had like a handles and this little screw thing. And I was like, I don't know what this is. And my husband's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Just throw it out. I said, no, feel like it might be something. I don't know what, but it could be important. And so I kept it. The other day, he's like, are you able to take this drain? I said, yes. Let me look for this thing. I found it. It worked. We were able to take the drain out. I was like, oh my God, this is a miracle. Something random and stupid that I kept for 2 years that I actually managed to find again. Cause like, Lord knows I keep things, but I don't know where I put them. I was like,
Yes.
I know I saw that thing. I had it 2 years ago.
Yes. Oh my
Found it.
goodness.
It was a success story.
Mine's the opposite. It was a pair of slacks. I don't know. My kids always laugh at me because I say slacks, but it was a pair of slacks, and I think I was wanting my mom to hem them or something, but I couldn't find them. So I thought I had gotten rid of them. And I was so mad. Like these perfect slacks would have been perfect for this outfit, blah, blah, blah. Well, a while later, I found them. And I tried them
Yeah.
on, and they were awful. I was like, "I should have got rid of them in the first place." And here I, like, was so mad at myself for something that I wouldn't even want once I found it. So,
Oh my
it can go
goodness.
both ways, right? We can and that's
Yeah.
where we have to have compassion on whatever we chose in the moment when we find ourselves in that spot in the future.
Totally. Oh my gosh. This has been such a fun conversation and also very enlightening, very practical. Like I said, I feel like I've accomplished more than in many years of therapy. But so if you have, enjoyed this episode, please like it, leave us a review, share it with friends if you have friends who struggle with organizing like me, please share this episode. And then I'm sure that our listeners are going to want to hear where they can find Tracy and possibly work with you or get enrolled in your Organized Life Academy. So tell us all the things. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
I have a website. It's simply squaredaway.com, and you can find everything on that website, including my 15-minute declutter challenge. And I'm on Instagram at Tracy Hoth, and you can listen to my podcast. It's a great place to start. It's called the Organized Coach Podcast.
Ooh, and we will put all of this information in the show notes. And we are so grateful for all of you listeners out there. And as always, remember, burnout is not your destiny. It's your wake-up call.